Welcome to the Artistically You podcast, where mixed media art is a place for all. Here, we are going to talk about art as a mindful practice, connect with our creativity, and embrace curiosity. This is your host, mixed media artist, Jana Oliveira.
Hey you, I hope you're well. I wanted to do this podcast episode, a reflection that made me think especially about today. That was a crazy day, about art and motherhood. And if you don't have kids, this is more about how it's to be an artist and be a mother, more about if you're curious about the process and what it takes to be an artist. And I was thinking today that sometimes when you say that you are an artist, people think that you spend your whole day painting and must be marvelous. My son goes to school and I can spend 5 hours just painting and posting on Instagram and taking pictures. And the reality is not that, especially for me with a special needs son. And today made me think a lot about that because today I had Instagram Live with my friend Mazarin and talking about a new adventure that we are doing together, or I am partnershiping with her, and we're certainly going to talk more about that later. But after that, I had to go to my son's pediatrician to pick up a health form. So my son, I'm very happy and excited that I got him enrolled on a school for autism, a school tailored for what he needs. Is a charter school here, one of the charter schools that they have here just for autism. And it's been so exciting, and I waited for this for so long, for 9 years since he started public school. I'm not going to go into my issues of public school. What I feel today on his last day on his school is that I am grateful. He got where he got with my job, the job of the therapist I worked with him, but also with school. He had some great teachers, he had not so great teachers. But what I'm really glad is the feeling that I have to have a public school is that I have to be the annoying mom or the questioning mom, or sometimes be too much on top of it. So taking that aside, the thing is that today with all that, I thought, okay, I'm going to pick this paper and then I can maybe take some time to do some studies and schedule some things that I have to schedule and work on my blog, record this podcast, edit the podcast to be released today, which maybe is going to happen, I don't know. And suddenly when I'm there, the new school sent me a mail, oh, if you're picking up the form, he can start tomorrow. And I'm like, what? He can start tomorrow? Then I have to call the school, and what do we need to do? That he's going to leave the school, and then I have to go there and sign up papers. Anyway, long story short is the day is gone and he's going to be here soon, and I did nothing whatsoever related to painting. And that sometimes happens when you have a child, and in my case, it happens a lot. Sometimes it's meetings, Zoom with behavior doctors, Zoom with therapists, Zoom with school about IEPs. And what's going to happen also is that I'm going to have to rearrange everything in my schedule and really organize myself, because on public school, he would be there 2 hours more than this new school. He's gonna go 1 hour earlier than the other school, but basically I think I lost 1 hour, 2 hours. And also in the beginning, I'm gonna have to drive him and pick him up as we get the bus arranged. So all this to say is that I'm gonna have to figure it out now, my schedule and my things, and really be diligent about my schedule and my list, and really divide my time. And I think that's the how it's gonna work. I'm gonna have to force myself to be organized, which I don't consider myself to be very organized. I have a tendency to not make a list or not organize myself And this year I started with a planner, so I'm really like take things seriously. I'm really glad that I started trying really hard. I did the 2 lives now of me painting. And if you are not on my Instagram, you can also, I'm going to put the recordings of that Instagram on my YouTube, so you can catch, the recording on Instagram, or you can go to my YouTube. And just to say that sometimes for us that still have children that need all this arrangements and things, it's hard. I wish I could have more time to do some things, but I also have to be open that this thing sometimes happens, and it's just a natural thing of life. And in my case, with my son having special needs, I already have that open on the schedule, because with a special needs child, there are many things that comes up that, it just happens and you have to take care of it. That's the truth of it. We have many more meetings and things, because the education of our children involves laws and regulations about special needs law. So we have to do more meetings than other parents of regular children don't have to do. And if you're a parent of a special needs, you know what I'm talking about. And if your child goes to clinic or private things like that, then you have to have more meetings or discussions about that, and doctor's appointments and all that. So that I'll just say that sometimes as artists, I don't think I'm going to have the privilege to say, my kids are grown up, I have time for myself, and I have consciousness that my son is, he's never going to be independent, so I'm always going to have to take care of him. So he's not, he's pretty independent. I don't have to like feed him or anything, but he's not going to go out of the house. That's what I mean. So it made me reflect, because maybe it's not children, but maybe you take care of your parents, and which you take the role now of a mother of your parents. So that motherhood thing for your parents. So it's all hard, but I think what I wanted to reflect about this and share is that organization is key. And what I'm learning through a book that I'm reading called The One Thing is that balance and multitask is an illusion. We just overwhelm ourselves. There is no such a thing. What it can be done is concentrate on one thing at a time. And that's, this book has given me some insights of like, okay, that's what I have to do, instead of thinking, oh my gosh, I have so many things to do. But think like, okay, what's the one thing I can do right now? So right now I'm here recording this podcast. What is going to be the next thing that I'm going to concentrate? It's going to be editing this podcast, and then, preparing the graphics, and then posting this podcast for you guys. So I think if you feel overwhelmed, and if you feel you have a lot to do, concentrate on one thing. And if you can read this book, also is a great book. I'm going to leave the name and the author on the notes. But it's not easy, and I will see if you discuss more about that, and if I can get a guest and we can talk more about this, would be good to find artists that have children want to talk. And I just want to share this, that sometimes there's some days that I cannot even touch my brush, and I don't feel bad, but it's like I try to set a goal for me to do something, even if it's 10 minutes. So who knows, maybe today the day is not done yet, but my son has physical therapy, so but I try. And when I don't do that, I'm like, but I think we have to set a goal for one thing, and then that's what I'm trying right now. So I hope all this sharing at least bring an insight of, what it takes for us to do this, and to be here with you, to bring you content that you can appreciate, and just a little insight of what goes through of the process, and also like the process of recording this podcast. So I was able to do a short one before my son comes here, which is nice. So I will see you on the next episode. Thank you so much for listening to the podcast. I appreciate you listening to the podcast all the way here to the end. And I would like to thank you so much. And to help us spread the word about the podcast, you can share on Instagram and tag me. I would love to share as well. And take a screenshot and tell me what you're doing while you're listening to the podcast. Or leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. We really appreciate if you could do that. It really helps spread the word about the podcast. I will talk to you on the next episode.
Thanks for listening. Check episode notes at 2worldart.com/blog. Connect with Jana on Instagram at Jana_2worlds. And make sure to receive our artful insights by signing up at bit.ly/join2worldsart.